Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're hopping into the 2 Onigishima event that is over here on the global side of the game, taking on the 40 stamina 10-star event against the new free-to-play dual unit Kaido and bigmom. And in today's video, I actually have 5 teams for you guys. It's really only like 3 teams, but we'll talk about that when we actually get there. And with this particular event becomes some boosted units. Now, obviously, the new Onigishima trio is boosted, as well as the new batch and the Shirahoshi, the waifus, the Rebecca, the Reiju. They're all very, very good for this particular event. But in today's video, I do have 2/3 teams for you guys that don't use any of the batch, and then I do have like 2, which is really like 1 team that does use all the batch as well. We're going to talk about a few units that are really, really good for this event as well. But first of all, we are going to talk about what this particular unit actually does. So they are a free-to-play dual unit, and it is bigmom and Kaido. They are a strength and a dex unit. Their special removes bind duration by 7 turns, changes all slots to strength, dex, and boosts strength, dex, and quick character slot effects by 2.25, and then becomes Kaido bigmom for 2 turns. So, very good free-to-play unit. They have a 4.25 times captain ability to strength, dex, and quick. Makes strength, dex slots have matching effects, and HP by 1.2. Their switch ability is going to change character's type to own slot, and then doubles their attack for 1 turn. So, very similar to Luffy and Law. These guys can hit fairly hard. And they're a pretty good free-to-play unit. They are a driven and a powerhouse unit, obviously. But their big downside is they're obviously bigmom and Kaido. And you have to sort of replace that sort of name frame, which is the big downside. So, for this particular event, the annoying part about it is when we are team building is actually stage 5. On stage 5, you come up against the calamities, either Jack, Queen, or King. And they all do different things. With Queen was built to be taken down by Jinbei. Which is threshold and bind. So make sure if you do have Jinbei, you put them down the bottom, or anyone that can bind down the bottom in your bottom slots. With Killer, he's designed to take down the King stage, which can get around Special Rewind, Despair, and Paralysis. And then finally, Zoro was built to take down the Jack stage, which is attack down at Special Binds. Now, obviously, if you guys haven't done any summons on these particular banners, I do have, like I said, 2 teams for you guys that can actually get around it without the new batch. But there are some really, really good units to take on this particular stage. Because it is random, characters like Usohachi, Shirahoshi, the Valentine Shirahoshi, Legend Chopper, as well as Stampede Buggy's another really, really good one. Who's the other character that I'm absolutely forgetting? I'm totally forgetting someone else. There's Stampede Buggy, Legend Chopper, Usohachi, Valentine Shirahoshi, and Bobbins is another really, really good option as well. So those characters are great because they can sort of take down our extra stages. But like I said, if you guys have the new batch, you are going to be in good stead. Another thing to note as well is that bigmom and Kaido will actually change to a different type depending on what your color captain is. Now, if you bring an Int or a Psy character, they're always going to turn into the quick variation, which is like the law variation. But if you bring a Dex captain as your leader, or Psy and Int for that matter, you are going to get things like a HP cut, as well as a full board of unfavorable orbs. If you bring a strength captain, they are going to turn into a dex character and give you, or put up defense up and damage reduction, as well as give block, bomb, or empty orbs. And if you have a quick captain, you are going to get special reverse by 1 turn, bind on your bottom row, and despair on your captain. So just be mindful of that when you are team building. And obviously this particular event was designed for the new 3 Onigishima legends. I would highly recommend bringing them as a friend captain, as there are some boosted units as well, and that way you can get some more drops. But if you are struggling with this event, because the boss has like 35 million HP, if you are struggling, just run the 20 stamina, because the Chopper Man missions are definitely worth your time, and I would highly recommend picking them up. I'm really sorry this video has come out quite late as well. I have had some stuff on over the weekend. But if you are enjoying today's video, make sure to go down there and belt the like button for me if you're new to the channel too. Hit the big red subscribe button. But guys, with that said, let's dive into that content. Alright, so the first team is utilizing a verse ace captain with a friend kid. Now, I wouldn't really recommend this team, but this is the team, these are the sports, so let's dive in. Alright, so once we hit stage 4, we come up against a Wano Swordsman as well as a Rochi. Now, before you get to this particular stage, I would highly recommend building up your verse ace verse ability. It's not really essential that you need it or anything like that, but it's definitely going to help out in the long run. Namely because on the final stage, because our captain is strength, we will be getting like block, bomb, empty orbs and stuff like that. Now, once you do hit the final stage, the bigmom Kaido dual unit will actually do something different depending on the color of your captain. So the Orochi and the Swordsman stage, they actually have a barrier. Just remember that Kid isn't actually getting boosted by Ace, so you can always attack with Kid first. Kid's really just here because I really wanted to get the extra drops from this particular event, as well as he being quite a good like attack and orb and color affinity booster. But on stage 5, we come up against Queen, King, or Jack, one of the calamities. Now, if you come up against Queen, he's going to bind you for 8 turns, as well as give you Threshold for 5. So that's why having limited rare recruit Lucy and Morley down the bottom is very, very essential, as that way we can actually get around the King stage. If you get, Queen. If you get King, he gives you Paralysis, Despair, and Special Reverse. And if you get Jack, he actually gives you Special Blind and Attack Down. Once you hit the final stage against Big Mom and Kaido, they are going to do something different depending on the color of your captain. Because our captain is a strength unit, they put up 5 turns of damage reduction and defense up. They also give us a full board of block or bomb orbs or empty orbs. I think they can give you as well. So this is why we want to have the versatility of Ace ready to go. That way we can rotate all those orbs into strength. We can get a attack boost with Kid, as we are running a mono strength team. We can rotate our orbs again with Kid. So you do have that option if you guys get like no block orbs. But that's why you really want to have Ace ready to go, mainly for the block orbs. We do have Usohachi to remove the defensive effects, and then Stampede Buggy's really on this team purely because of the paralysis, the special bind, as well as the attack down removal. So he's just really, really good for the calamities. So as I mentioned, Kid's not getting boosted, so start your chain with him. Bob's your uncle. We have plenty of damage to take out Big Mom and Kaido. So that was the hybrid Kid team. I really just wanted to include Kid in this video somewhere. And let's move on to the next team now. Alright, so moving on to the next team, we are utilizing a Roger captain with a friend Luffy. So this is the team, these are the supports, let's dive in. Alright, so once again, we're on stage 4, we come up against Orochi and his swordsman. Now, this particular team is a bit of an interesting one, namely because this and the next team that you guys see is actually the same team. We are just bringing a different friend captain. So this Roger team that I have put together actually works with both Law and Luffy as your friend captain. The downside is when you are using Luffy, obviously Chopper's not going to get a buff, and when you are using Law, then Usopp isn't actually getting a buff. So a little bit of a bummer there, but it's not the end of the world nevertheless. So once we hit stage 5, we come up against the calamities. Now, against King, like you see here, we get Despair, Paralysis, and Special Reverse. And with the combination of Usohachi and Chopper, we can actually get around all of the calamities effects. We're then going to finish it off with the Ryoiin combo as well as the chain lock from Shanks' crew, and we can easily take out this stage and carry that into the next. With Usohachi and Chopper though, as I was saying, no matter what the calamity is, you guys can actually get around this fairly easily. With Queen, as you guys saw there, we can get around all those nasty defects with the special reverse thanks to Usohachi, Despair, Paralysis from Chopper. Chopper also has special bind removal as well as bind removal, which is great. Usohachi can remove Threshold, and it just works really, really nicely no matter what the calamity. Once we hit the final stage, because we are using Roger as our captain, Big Mom and Kaido will turn into a quick unit, the same as Law. And what that actually means is it just means they just do a HP cut and they reduce our recovery. But once we just use the special of Luffy to give ourselves an attack buff, we can easily take out this stage. Bob's your uncle, see you later. With that final tap that Luffy can do and all that Unga Bunga damage, it just works really, really nicely. You do have the super typing as well that you could use on like the Orochi stage if you want to make that a little bit quicker. But this team actually does it really, really well. And if you guys didn't do any summons at all, and you don't have any of the boosted units, you can easily use this team. So let's move on to the next team now, where we actually showcase this same team with Law. Alright, so moving on to the next team, or the same team I should say. We're just using Law as our friend captain. So this is the team once again. Those with the supports, let's dive in. Alright, stage 4, we come up against Orochi and the Swordsman once again. Now, as I mentioned, this particular team actually does it really, really nicely. And with Shanks' crew's switch ability, it doesn't really matter too much that one of your units isn't boosted under either Law or Luffy, but the downside with Law is you actually can't get his super typing, which makes it a little bit hard to get his final tap mechanic. But you guys will see, like, it doesn't matter too much, as we can actually get around it nonetheless, and it works really, really nicely. Once we hit stage 5 and we come up against the calamities, this time we got Jack. He gives us attack down and special bind, and as I was saying with the Luffy team, the combination of Usohachi and Chopper is just so damn good here that we can actually get around all of these nasty debuffs very, very easily. Chopper gets around the bind, the special bind, the attack down, the paralysis. Roger gets around the Despair, Usahachi has the cooldown and the thresholds, and it all works really, really nicely. With the Ryoiin combo giving us the 3 turns of the Orb boost to our Free Spirits and our Slashes, as well as getting the 3 turns of Chainlock from Shanks' crew, it all works so damn nicely. And the fact that Roger is both Free Spirit and Slasher means that he just works really, really nicely with Law or Luffy. Once we hit the final stage against Big Mom and Kaido, once again, they're going to turn into a quick unit, because obviously they think that we are a Dex character for some reason. I feel like it's the same with the int variation. Let me know in the comment section below if it's different with the int. But I do imagine it is the same, as it's basically designed around strength Dex and quick characters. But because of that, they turn into a quick unit, which is really good for this team because Law is obviously a quick unit. And as you guys can see there, just with that extra damage that Law can provide, it's so damn nice. And if you are running of this variant, I would highly recommend trying to bring a Law friend captain. But let's move on to the big Quaylen teams now, and let's get some points. So moving on to the big old Quaylen team now, and for the second last team, we will be utilizing a double Law-led team with the new batch. So this is the team, these are the supports, let's dive in. Alright, so starting at stage 4 once again, we come up against the Swordsman and Orochi. Now, with this particular team, I am missing Killer. Now, out of the batch, I did manage to pick up all of the anniversary waifus, as well as Zoro and Jinbei, but unfortunately for me, I didn't pick up Killer. The beautiful thing about this particular piece of content, though, is Killer is the most replaceable. Now, but for this particular team, it does struggle a little bit on the King stage, as we do need to stall 1 turn for this team to actually work, but it still does work nonetheless. And to get around the paralysis, we have Corazon on our Law, as well as having the support of Sanji on our Zoro. That way we can get around the Despair, we can get around the paralysis, and it just works really, really nicely. But as you can see here, wow, words are hard. We're up against Queen on stage 5, and she gives... Alright, so over here on stage 4 once again, and we come up against the Swordsman and Orochi. Now, with this particular team, I am still missing Killer, and that's why I've put Rebecca on this particular team. Rebecca, if you have, Killer, is just a straight replacement, but thankfully, Killer's actually the easiest one to actually replace with the waifus when it comes to the new anniversary units. So, I did manage to pick up the 3 waifus, and I did manage to get Jinbei as well as Zoro, but unfortunately for me, I am missing Killer, but... to get around that, we do have the supports of Sanji on Zoro, as well as Corazon on Law to get around the Despair and the Paralysis. But to get around the Special Reverse, unfortunately, we just do need to take 1 turn to actually just stall that out. And then that way we can actually take him down if we do get the King stage. But on stage 5, we actually came up against Queen. Against Queen and against Jack, this team does function very, very nicely and does it very, very easily. Just make sure that Jinbei is down the bottom as always, so that way you can get around the bind as well as getting around the threshold on the Queen stage. You get a color affinity buff, and then with the special of Law, we can actually get the 1.5 extra damage, that massive attack boost, and then we can use his super typing, so that way we can actually get the overheal mechanic, and that way we can just stockpile our HP for that last tap mechanic on the final stage. Once we've done that, we're pretty much in good stead to take out Queen here. We do need to hit a couple of perfects, but which can be a little bit tricky because we are using the anniversary ship, but if you struggle with your perfects, just bring the merry-go, that'll work too. You'll lose some XP, but, it'll still work. Once we hit the final stage against Big Mom and Kaido, because we are running a Dex leader, Big Mom and Kaido are going to turn into a quick unit, and then they're going to do a bunch of damage, as well as bind our recovery. Now, if you guys get the King stage, you ideally want to use the super typings of Law early, because on the second turn, King will actually reduce your recovery, and then you can take him out on the second turn. But once we hit the final stage, we get a full board of unfavorable slots, which this whole team actually makes matching because of Law's captain ability, and I think the sailor ability of Shirahoshi. And with Shirahoshi, we can actually get color affinity with the VV support as well as some rainbow orbs, which is really, really nice. Rebecca's also going to rotate the orbs around her as well. We have an attack boost with our Law unit, and we have an orb boost with Zoro. Now, if you need to use Zoro on the previous turn, you will obviously not have this orb buff, but you can still use Jinbei to get the color affinity and then use Shirahoshi after that. So then that way you're not sort of losing out on that bigger color affinity buff that Jinbei can provide. So this team actually works really, really well. I don't know if this or the next team is the one I'm going to be used to farming, but they are pretty identical, just the captain does change. So let's move on to the final team of the video now, and let's wrap up this video. Alright, and the final team of the video is utilizing double Luffy. So your boy went back in, and we did pick up Luffy. So this is the team, this is the supports, let's dive in. Alright, so over here on stage 4 against Orochi once again. Now, this particular team is the same as the Law team that you guys just saw, and it does function very similarly. Obviously, the big difference here is we do have Luffy as our captain, and we do have the Rayleigh support on Luffy this time instead of the Corazon support. Other than that, the team is literally identical. It basically functions the exact same way, but the beautiful thing about using Luffy is he actually has his super typing to give us special cooldown. Because of that, Killer is directly replaced. Like, we don't even have to worry about Killer at all. But if you do have Killer for this particular team, just take off Shirahoshi, put on Killer, and you will be in very, very good stead. I do think Luffy does this the best because, like, the abundance of quick units that if you, provided you do have the batch, obviously, the abundance of quick units, it just works really, really nicely. Once again, we actually got Queen. Queen just tends to pop up a lot for me. Queen gives 5 turns of Threshold and 5 turns of Bind on our top and middle row. King will do Despair, Paralysis, and cooldown, like roll your specials back, and Jack will actually do special bind as well as attack down. So obviously, like, Zoro's made for Jack, Jinbei's made for Queen, and then Killer is made for King. So that's the easiest way to get around that. But as you guys saw at the beginning of the video, there are some characters that can replace, like, can easily get around this particular these stages. Characters like Bobbins, characters like Valentine Shirahoshi, characters like Usohachi, characters like Legend Chopper. They're all very, very good options, and they can do it very, very nicely. Once we hit the final stage, because we do have a quick captain, we are going to get 8 turns of Despair and 8 turns of Bind on our top and bottom row. Or Bind's only on the bottom, and the Despair's obviously on our captains. But we also get 1 turn of Special Reverse. So this is why we need the super typing of our Luffy. That way we can give ourselves the cooldowns for our Free Spirits, Fighters, and our quick units. And then we can actually use the Rebecca special to remove the Bind and the Despair. Rebecca being in the middle slot as well is actually going to give adjacent orbs matching, which is really, really nice. Shirahoshi's actually going to give us the... she's going to give the, like, her adjacent orbs... rainbow orbs, and then again with Vivi we can get color affinity. But if you guys are using Jinbei special on this particular turn, make sure to use Jinbei special before Shirahoshi. We can get an attack boost and a base stat boost with Luffy. We have an orb buff with Zoro, and with that we're pretty much in good stead. Now, Big Mom Kaido have about 35 million HP, so this event can be quite tricky, and if you are struggling, just make sure to run the 20 stamina. You can pretty much just Kaido it, and it works really, really, really nicely. So that's going to wrap up today's video, guys. I do apologize once again that it came out quite late, but I hope you guys enjoyed it nonetheless. If you did, make sure to go in there and belt the like button for me. If you're new to the channel too, hit that big red subscribe button as well. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later!